I say I'm the man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am? I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm the man? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know who I am.
So confused in this life full of mystery. Guess I'm glad it ain't a life full of misery. I wanna dance, I wanna fly, I wanna let it free. But that's a different side of people they don't wanna see. I've been caught up in my mind sometimes, so I rhyme just to feel alright. And when the rhyming did good, that's when I just understood it was by design. And when I feel this way, I just walk and talk to appear this way, baby. I don't know what to say, baby. I don't know what I am, baby. That's just how I play, baby. Yeah.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm the man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?
Powered by Riverside FM.
What's up, you peers? It's another solemn episode of Unconventional Playbook. Got some bad Viking news, and I wouldn't want to do this show by myself today. So I called my guy, the guru of Minnesota sports. Mr. Patrick Buchanan is here to join us. Pat, how you doing, man?
I'm all right, Coach. Listen, man. The depression in the voice that you're giving right now, we all got it right now, right? Just but yeah. You just got to keep moving on, right? The show, the boat, is going to continue to go, and the ship, is going to continue to go, and we just got to keep fighting through. Like we've been fighting through a lot, man, this off season, right? We've been fighting through a lot, and adversity is the word I'm gonna use, and hopefully the culture that's built in that building helps us get through just all these devastating things, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got my take on it. The one side I'm not going to take is the woe is me side. I mean, this is sports, and the longer you're involved in sports, no matter what level you coach at or no matter what level you play at, injuries are just a part of the game. And it's very unfortunate, number one, for JJ McCarthy. I'm sure he's probably more disappointed than anybody. It's unfortunate for the Minnesota Vikings organization, but it's also, unfortunate for the Minnesota Vikings fan base, as, JJ McCarthy, coming off of first preseason game, was just starting to gain some momentum. People that hadn't been out to the practices or training camps finally got a chance to see JJ in purple, and actually went out and played pretty well. His first preseason game, and of course we get the news today that he's going to have meniscus surgery. To what extent, we don't know. Basically, the doctors are saying once they get in there and be able to see. There's definitely two routes they could take. One route is some cleanup, some trimming, which is a little bit more short term. And the other route is just a complete repair, which will be a longer term type injury and keep him out for longer. But just to get your take on the situation, Pat, what are you feeling right now? What are some of your thoughts about the news that we heard about JJ McCarthy today?
Yesterday, when we heard soreness, right? He wasn't going to practice, right? I was like, okay, maybe he just got some inflammation in his knee or something, right? The soreness, whatever. And I was like, it's been a rigorous, training camp, right? There's a lot of stuff out there. It's different in the NFL or whatever. But
yeah,
I felt bad for the young man. I feel bad for him, and because it happens, right? Obviously, we got to turn our focus, right? More to Sam, and there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't take away from what the previous takes on what I was feeling about the young man. Like, if you've played sports enough, like I had a ruptured Achilles tendon, right? So things happen, right? There's some things that are just out of our control. Things happen, and it happened, and we got to, our focus, one of the first things that I thought about, and I'm going to go back to, 2017, 2018 season, Coach, and I just want to share a bunch of things that happened. And all I'm saying is this is just the reality of life, right? And I believe in a higher being, that is in control of a lot of stuff. So go 17, 18, that's my first year out at Mayor, Coach, right? You know what that fantastic team looked like, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was a fantastic basketball team that I had, and I had some young babies. I had 2 babies on that team, and that was little JP and Xander. But I had a bunch of seniors, right? But these young babies could go, right? And I remember, our mentor, Willie Jett, telling me, don't expect everything to go as planned, right? And I, sat down, think about that. Don't expect everything to go as planned, right? So one of my sophomores, right, tears his knee up in football. So that's out my plans. After the first game of the season, my little sophomore point guard ruptures his meniscus, right?
I remember that.
So my plan was to go with these young guys, but the brakes got pumped on me and said, it ain't they time. It's the seniors' time, right? And that season, obviously, we head all the way to the state tournament, right? 3rd place at state, but, historic season that we had over there. And so I'm saying this because I'm saying, KOC, you may have had a plan, but sometimes there's a bigger plan that we don't know. And where I'm going with this is maybe Sam's been doing everything right in his life, right? And maybe Sam deserves this opportunity because he's never had weapons like this, so that he can go somewhere else after this year and establish himself and get that contract and run someone else's franchise, just like Geno Smith is getting, just like Baker Mayfield is getting, right? But if he would have never get this full opportunity and JJ gets inserted, this is all hindsight, everyone, right? He doesn't have this opportunity. And maybe there's this bigger thing for this man than it is for us for JJ McCarthy right now, because I feel like if this man, Sam Darnold, does his thing and he can produce, we'll be fine and successful, because let's see what he can do. I still believe in JJ McCarthy, and JJ should be the quarterback, right? But that's not an option for who knows how long, right? So Sam Darnold is the topic of conversation in the sense of being the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, right? So my thing is some things are just outside of our control. I'm going to rally behind him. I'm going to support him. No matter what I said and takes, I'm a Vikings fan. So I am going to ride with Sam Darnold, right? And we've always said, Coach, that this is the best weapons he's ever had, right? So I'm hurt and saddened by it, but let's rally behind Sam, everybody, man. We ain't got no other choice.
Yeah. When you look at the whole situation, I look at some of the takes that we've had in the past, and I've been on record saying that I thought, Sam Darnold was going to be QB1, but it was okay to get excited about JJ McCarthy because, this is uncharted waters for us. The Minnesota Vikings they've never really had a franchise guy drafted. Like, I know that we had Dante Culpepper, but, I don't think anybody thought that Dante Culpepper, probably other than Denny Green, I don't think anybody thought that Dante Culpepper would become the quarterback that he ended up being. I mean, he came out of Central Florida. He wasn't super highly touted. He was a big guy. Everybody thought that he would be pretty good, but I don't think anybody would put him in the category of being considered MVP of the league, right, which he was. Same way with Teddy Bridgewater. Everybody knew Teddy Bridgewater coming out of Louisville was good quarterback. I don't think everybody thought that he would ascend to being an elite quarterback. JJ McCarthy comes in with a lot of fanfare and a lot of hope. And then that hope and that fanfare got a little bit more intense after the game on Saturday. Right. Like, When I tell you the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota was in the buzz, I mean, you live there, Pat. You feel it. You see it in the newspaper, and you see it on all the sports talk shows. There was a buzz. And so just listening to a lot of people, listening to a lot of analysts since the news broke, everybody is taking a mature approach to this whole thing. They're taking a mature perspective for the whole thing. But here's what I like about this show. I'm going to speak for the fans. And the fans I know out there, they're experiencing a lot of disappointment right now. A lot of the Minnesota Viking fans are feeling a little bit snake bit right now, just because of the intensity of Saturday. And I think there's a lot of fans out there that they probably won't admit this, but they expected JJ McCarthy to start at some point this season, whether it was the first game, maybe after the fourth game. Maybe they thought JJ McCarthy would come in after the bye. I don't know. But I think there's a good portion of the Viking fan base, Pat, that thought this guy at some point was going to step in. And now that's kind of all been washed away somewhat. Where I am disappointed as a fan is this, because I'm going to come at it from a coaching standpoint as well. And you've coached a lot of basketball. You coached some football. I've coached as well. My biggest disappointment is this, hearing the news about JJ McCarthy. I could care less about this year. Like, I really could. People are disappointed saying we're not going to see JJ McCarthy. I was prepared not to see him this year. I was prepared to roll with Sam Darnold. And, I've said that in previous podcasts. Where I'm really disappointed now is I know with the meniscus tear that's not only going to affect him in games, but it's going to affect him in practice as well. Like, he's not going to be able to practice.
Yeah.
And for a rookie quarterback getting acclimated to the NFL, that is crucial, whether he's playing in games or not. And if it's the second road that I talk about, where they have to go in there and do a complete repair, he's out for a long time, not being able. I mean, his season, for all intents and purposes, is done. Even if he's able to come back towards the end and start practicing, you're just not going to put JJ McCarthy in the game when he's missed that amount of time. So now you're looking at next year. So you're taking away from JJ, if it's bad, a full year of reps. And so I know he's got mini camps. I know he's got, the breakdown sessions, mini camps and all that stuff, but it's not like playing in games. And then you can also go as far as, once he comes back for next year, what are they going to do in preseason games? You're talking about KOC already being gun shy to play guys. This is another excuse for him maybe not to get those preseason reps. So for me, it's a disappointment. If it's the worst meniscus injury that you can have, where they got to go in and do the full repair, man, it's just going to be a while for JJ, for him to be out there and get those reps. So essentially, not mentally, but physically, he's coming back as a rookie next year. And I just hate the thought of him missing all of those reps in practice. Am I thinking about that the right way?
Yeah, you never can replace experience.
Yeah.
Right? There's no justifying replacing it, but there are quarterbacks that are smart enough, and organizations that have great plans for people, and for them to get through, right? Anthony Richardson played 2.5 games, right? And missed and he looked good right away. And that's all he got. That was all his experience, right? JJ McCarthy right now, right, going down the energy, he got, pretty much 2 quarters of play, like 2.5 quarters of football play, 2 quarters, whatever. And he's had a lot of training camp, off-season OTAs, mini camps, right, and stayed around. So that's his experience that he's got to take along with him to wherever, right, whenever he gets on the field again, whether it's this year or next year, whatever. And that's part of it. That's the part for him, right? It's going to be the space between the ears, right? because really that's what it is. It's going to be the space, rehabbing and the space between the ears and understanding there's nothing you can control, young man. You could be frustrated, which you should feel some frustration, but like he always talks about his place is the meditation, his spirituality or whatever, right? That's where you're going to have to go through, right? And if you trust in that and believe in that, then you got to stick with that. For the fans, like here's something that I like to say though too, right? Here's some additional to add on to everything we're layering with this the happening is, I just mentioned, Anthony Richardson. Coach, yesterday, there's a movie that I like, right? And I watched The American Underdog again. I love watching American Underdog. That's the Kurt Warner story. You never watched it, go watch American Underdog. It's a great thing. Trent Green was going to be the quarterback of this fantastic team, 1999, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody out the blue, right? Journeyman, right? Never played, is a rookie at 30 years old or something like that. Kurt Warner comes in, takes him on the way. New England Patriots, when they had Bledsoe, right? New England Patriots, when they had Bledsoe. Nobody know nothing about no Tom Brady then. And you guys can't think of what his career was. What you can think about is when Bledsoe went down, what Tom Brady did, right?
Right.
Who did the Philadelphia Eagles get to the Super Bowl with, Coach?
The name's escaping me now, but he was a journeyman quarterback.
Glenn, last name, was it something like that, right?
Yeah,
the quarterback's name, right?
I know who you're talking about. The name's escaping me right now.
Yeah, backup quarterback, wasn't expected, gets there, right? Yep. So there's people, yes, we have the high expectations for the man in JJ McCarthy. And remember, he's 21 years old, so his future's still bright. But there have been quarterbacks to step in and get the job done, right?
Yeah.
There were glimpses without Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson not on the field. There were great things that we saw even in one series from Sam Darnold. There were things that obviously see better, but when you add the more pieces out there, right, what's it going to be? And that's just the space I'm in right now. I'm in a space of let's see what you can give us, because it's not like it's never happened before, right? It's not like it's never happened before. And all it does is have us pump the brakes on what the future, right? We don't get to see the future yet, right? I mean, we were all in, Coach, after the preseason. We want to see the future. Instant. Like, everybody wants instant gratification, instant whatever. I am a victim to that because that's what I wanted. We don't get that yet, right? That's coming, but we don't get that yet. It's this man, Sam Darnold's time. And there's other things that are in control that we can't say, and it's Sam's time. And, hey, UP Nation, right? Skull Nation, hey, we're going to rally behind him. We have no other choice, right? So that's the way I want to look at it and run with it, right? Like I said, we talked about him being the 3rd overall pick 5 years ago. What can he do right now? Best talent he's ever had. Got a chance to be in multiple places, 4th organization, was over there with Kyle Shanahan. Like, number one, Kyle Shanahan's a genius. Everyone knows. To sit in Kyle Shanahan's system for 1 year, you can't say that he has not learned, right?
PA calls him next level Shanny.
Right. So to be in there and then come over here with the Whisperer, right, in KOC, what else is there for us to believe in? Yes, we drafted a rookie and he was the one. But it ain't his time yet. That's all. Yeah. It's just not his time yet.
Yeah. The quarterback that you were thinking of, Pat, was Nick Foles. That name, Nick Foles. Yeah, that name was escaping me. I couldn't think of it for the life of me. Yeah, Nick Foles led the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, which is absolutely extraordinarily. I'm not disputing anything that you said. I think everything you said was 100% correct. There are things in our universe that we just can't control. And I believe you're absolutely right. It's 100% Sam Darnold's time to possibly make his mark Maybe that attributed to the injury. I don't know, but I will say this again. The one thing that I want to do is just look at it from a fan standpoint, because I think some of the stuff you're saying is absolutely right, and I think some of the national media takes absolutely right. I'm not disputing those, but there are just some dark corners of just being a fan. And so when you say that it's Sam Darnold's time, I believe you're absolutely right. It is Sam Darnold's time. And I don't think Sam Darnold would wish for JJ McCarthy to get hurt. Not at all. But I think right now Sam Darnold can probably breathe a sigh of relief knowing that he's going to get a legit shot. Not every time he throws an incomplete pass or interception are people going to be screaming from the bleachers, JJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now he gets the support, the full support of his organization, that locker room, and the fans. But again, I'm going to come at it from the fan standpoint, because I know there's a lot of Minnesota Viking fans that are down in the dumps and disappointed. And so my question becomes, even though this is frustrating and we're not in control of it, you have to ask yourself, when is it going to be the Minnesota Vikings time?
Yeah.
It's like, as a fan, we always have to find a way to kick the can down the road. Well, maybe next year. And we got this young dude coming up. We had the same thoughts about Teddy Bridgewater, and look how that ended up. We had the same thoughts about Dante Culpepper, and look how that ended up. We had the same thoughts about Sam. You remember Sam Bradford's first game against the Saints, where he came in and lit it up, and then we found out that he had bad knees? I mean, as a Minnesota Viking fan, as well as a Cleveland Brown fan, so that's double the disappointment right there, where I feel like as fans, it seems like it's never our time. And we always have to do the mature thing and say the mature thing and kick the can down the road. Now, the mature thing is, we all know that JJ McCarthy is going to come back from this. Like, this is not a career-threatening injury by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all.
It's just going to screw up his timeline, a little bit. He's going to have to adjust. And I just feel bad, because we've never had this before. And I feel like as soon as we got that glimmer of hope, now it's like the rug has been snatched out from under our feet a little bit. And I just feel bad for the Viking fan. We've already had a death in our organization this year. So I just think about, man, how much can this fan base take? Because it seems like whenever things start to get rolling well, there's just something that happens that's not supposed to happen, that's out of our control. And I think the Minnesota Viking fan base today, even though it's nobody's fault, I just think they have a right to be upset and frustrated with this whole thing. I know I am, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, just frustrated and kind of down in the dumps.
Oh, I'm frustrated. Coach, I go back to, like, for me, like, as Minnesota, I go back all the way starting in 1998, right? The kick, right? And you keep going on, right? The 41-0 NFC ass whooping in New York Giants, right? I go back to
Don't remind
Seattle,
me, Pat.
in Seattle, right? The field goal, right? You go back to, man, when oh my goodness, the everything was flying high before we had to go get Sam Bradford with T-Jack, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I mean, we knew it, but they responded right away, right, to go get Sam, and then that was having the moment of being able to everybody to have that fantastic team go get Brett Favre, and the for us, the bad luck is, y'all don't want to throw flags in the NFC Championship game, right? And this man is hitting them all late, but y'all been throwing flags all year long, right? So, to have that where you don't give us the respect of what we did that year to go to the Super Bowl, which we would have been. But, you know, the young man shouldn't have thrown it across, and we shouldn't have got to delay a game as well to move us out of the field goal range. And you know, to keep moving on, right, you know, fourth and whatever, and you got Kurt throwing it 3 yards, right? And then last year, you know, JJ goes down, so everybody heart dropped. Then Kurt goes down, and we're going through scrambling through quarterbacks, right? And then we get this boost of excitement when JJ signs, and you know, we draft a young man. We have a great Kwesi kicks ass in the offseason, you know, and we get to see him. And it's just like every other year and everything else, like, why us? And it comes a point in time where, yeah, it's got to stop. But I think that what we got to do, because, yeah, it keeps happening over and over to us, is we got to kind of put our heads up. And we can be sad, but we got to put our heads up and still have some belief out there, right? You know, we can't go to the what ifs, because there is no what ifs. They got to play the game, and we got to support them. But, man, like, I'm not telling you, I'm saying after you get through this, because we all got to get past it, right? We're going to have to lift our heads up high, because, man, I am devastated right now. I am devastated. Everyone on UP Nation, you know what I've been saying after I said to Darnold, for the last couple of ones, I've been saying he's about to be it. He's about to be it. I've been talking about this KOC, like, mastermind plan that he's been having. And that's why I said earlier in this podcast, sometimes our brakes get pumped, KOC. And we just roll with it. Sometimes the brakes get pumped. And if you had a plan, like, no one knows but you and those coaches, if you did have a plan, they just pumped the brakes on it, man. Give this man Sam a time. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, coach. Like,
yeah,
this really happened. Y'all, it's happened.
Yeah.
He tore his meniscus. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. If anybody has a contingency plan, it's Kwesi and KOC. And Sam Darnold, you know, with the news today, he's going to get a legitimate shot to showcase what he can do. He's had multiple years in the league, started for multiple teams, you know, the Panthers and then the Jets. And then he had a, opportunity to sit back and learn from one of the best coaches in the NFL. You mentioned that. And now he's stepping into a situation where not only does he have a great coaching staff, he's going to have a great defense on the other side of the ball with B-Flow and the boys. He's going to have some tools to play with on offense. So for Sam Darnold, I hope that Vikings Nation, Skol Nation, wraps their arms around Sam Darnold and supports the young man, because Sam Darnold has the tools.
Yes.
Like he has the tools. He's got all the physical attributes that you would want in a quarterback. Does he have it in terms of his decision making? That's going to be what he's going to be judged on, because I don't think anybody thinks he's got a limp arm. Like, he's got a hose for an arm, but everybody's been talking about, his decision making. If Sam Darnold can get through that and improve on that, I think he's going to have a really, really good year. And I hope Vikings Nation can wrap their arms around him and support the young man.
I'm not even, hopefully he's making great decisions, whatever, but I just want that, because I still believe to be a starting quarterback, you got to have that it factor, right? And I just want him to show that it factor, right? And that our it factor for McCarthy, and they're two different individuals. He was a winner. He was about winning. He was a winner. Win at all costs. I believe he's a win at all costs. I'm a winner. I've been winning. I don't know anything other, right? For Sam, forget about your past. Your past is what you've learned. It's what you're going to do with the moment right now, right? Are you going to take advantage of this opportunity, right? You have not seen this opportunity since you've been a pro. That meaning what he's surrounded by, right? Who's in his ear, right? What coaches he has right now. I don't know what more to say, Coach. I just, we a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Kyrie Jackson, Blackman, Addison drunk driving, and
Yeah.
this, right? I was just talking to a buddy, and I was like, man, it's every year though. You got to think about it, right? You got to think about the ones that have, like, I'll give it Rondale Moore down in Atlanta. He's just season ending, right? He was going to be number 2 or 3 wide receiver for what they felt is going to be a high-powered offense down there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where everyone has to go through it or whatever, but it's football. It's football, man. So my question, I'm throwing my question. Here's my question back to you, Coach, right? I figured, right, the question that was asked to KOC right away, are you going to get another quarterback, right? So after they figure out what this surgery and what type of surgery has got to be, is their quarterback, if they have to go sign another quarterback just for the depth, is their quarterback, do you think that they should trade for, or one that that might be a free agent still right now to go pick up?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that question is going to be posed out there a little bit more intently once they find out the significance of JJ's injury. Right now, knowing what I know right now about JJ's injury, I would keep it the same. I would roll with Mullins. I would roll with Sam Darnold. There's not a move that Mullins knows the system.
And probably we're not talking about a starting quarterback. We're talking about another backup.
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. Just in case Sam Darnold goes down, then who is that guy? I would roll with Mullins only because he's been in the building for 2 years now. He understands the playbook, and Mullins can sling the ball a little bit. He gives the ball to the other team a lot, but we've seen him in this offense throw for 400-something yards. You know, if you start to limit his turnovers, he's not a bad backup. And I don't think there's another backup out there of significance that you can go and get that you wouldn't be able to get without giving up some assets. And I just don't believe that the Minnesota Vikings should be giving up any assets. I mean, our season is what it is. And I think they need to stay pat and get prepared for 2025 and that free agency period and just roll with Sam Darnold and Mullins. I wouldn't go out and get anybody. I would keep that quarterback room exactly the way it is, unless something extraordinary falls out of the sky from somewhere where there's a situation that you just can't pass up in terms of bringing another quarterback in.
I don't know one. Like, stay with it, right? The only thing worries me if those two go down. I'm not the most confident in Jaron Hall, right? I'm
right.
Just being honest, right? Nothing against you, Jaron, but just I haven't seen it from you. The part that I heard on the radio, somebody's like, "Oh, we go 5-12 now, get a top 5 pick or whatever, in the draft." No, we can't think that way. That's not the way that they're going to go out there and play and think, right? So let's not think. Then that's saying you don't believe in Sam Darnold, right? All the things you said about Sam were false. Like, so basically, you were saying JJ McCarthy was the savior right now, right away, like Sam was non-relevant, right? I don't think I've ever said it. I know you have never said it, right? And most people I've heard haven't said it. So let's not think that way. Like 5 wins right away. The man hasn't played a regular season game under this system and a year older, year mature, year wiser as an NFL player. So, until he shows something different, we can't think that way. No. But when it comes to a quarterback, we'll see when they say whatever. But if it's something sitting in free agency and he's out for 13 weeks or whatever, 3 months, then I'm going to get somebody. If he's out for 6 weeks, man, we good. We good. That means he's back in October.
Yeah, I think
that means he's back after the bye week.
Yeah. We did a poll. We did an unconventional playbook poll on our community page on YouTube, and I put a poll out there on who would be QB1 to start the season. And it was 68% Sam Darnold would start the season as QB1. And I'm not surprised that most people voted for Sam Darnold. I was surprised in the gap because I know a lot of people aren't going to admit this, but I think the majority of Viking fans thought as long as JJ McCarthy looks like he did in that first preseason game, at some point, whether it's 2 games, 4 games, after the bye week, after 8 games, what have you, people thought this man is going to come into the game eventually and take the place of Sam Darnold. Depending on the severity of the injury, I don't know where that puts that timeline. So I think the disappointment lies in just the hope. You know, JJ was the hope. I mean, he's a 21-year-old man with really no experience playing in the NFL. He's looked good in one preseason game, but you know, he just represented hope for a lot of Minnesota Viking fans. And now that he can't play for a while, you know, that hope is just diminished. Has nothing to do with Sam Darnold. I am hopeful that Sam Darnold comes out and plays lights out. I think when you hear the 4-5 win season, stuff like that, I think people look at that first, 5 or 6 games where it's daunting, man. It's just a daunting task. You got the Green Bay Packers, you got the Lions, you got the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, you just got some teams in there that are just going to be tough to beat no matter who your quarterback is. So I think, you know, it's really important for Sam Darnold to be able to come in and get off to a good start. I don't think that schedule helps him in that category. But again, he's never had these weapons. So I'm like you, Pat. I'm rallying behind Sam Darnold, man. I want the young man to come in there and play well. I know who the majority of the Viking fans want to see in there, but like you said, that's not going to happen. There's nothing we can do with that. We've got 2 choices: either roll with Sam Darnold or don't roll with Sam Darnold. And my vote is to roll with Sam Darnold. I was excited when we picked him up. I thought that he was going to start the season, and I'm on record with saying I think he's going to have a pretty good season. I think the hurt just comes in. We got a chance to see the future, you know, the glimpse of our future. And now we just got to put that on hold a little bit and rally with Sam Darnold, man.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. But, Kale, we probably are not going to see the first team offense anymore at all until week 1 at the New York Giants. So
yeah,
I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna see any more starters out there. What you think, Coach?
No, I think, you know, and again, I may owe KOC an apology and a lot of the coaches out there, because I've been really critical of these coaches not playing these guys in preseason games. And I think I made the statement, like, what are the odds that a quarterback gets hurt in a preseason game? You're only giving them a couple series. You know, they need to get out there and get used to the cadence, get used to getting people in and out of the huddle. And here it is, you know, JJ McCarthy plays and ends up coming out of that game with something going on with his meniscus. So these NFL coaches, man, know what they're talking about and what they're doing. It's just unfortunate that it happened to the Vikings, man. It's just unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Unconventional Playbook. UP Nation, keep your heads up. Like Pat Buchanan said, you know, we got to keep our heads up. Vikings Nation, Skol Nation, keep your heads up. Better days ahead for the Minnesota Vikings. It could be worse. It could be an ACL or something like that. That would really put a
Achilles.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, man. It could have been a lot worse. So thank our lucky stars that it's just a meniscus. Whatever the timeline is, JJ McCarthy, as he said on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, he said, Viking fans, I will be back better than ever. And if there's any young man that has the determination to get back and maximize his time out, it's going to be JJ McCarthy. I mean, he's done everything right since he's been here, so I wish him nothing but the best. Pat, anything else you want to say to Panther Nation before we get out of here, man?
Nah, man, let's, everybody, whatever, for everyone that wanted JJ McCarthy, I was one of them. Got to rally behind the next man. That's all I say. Let's rally behind them. We'll continue bringing you whatever we bring you about the Vikings. But the one thing right now, tell us all, no matter what, we're rallying behind this man, Sam Darnold. So let's get it going. KOC and staff, you guys do your thing out there.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Woods. Thanks for all the comments and just flattery about our program. Pat and I are working hard to bring you great content. Shout out to my guy, Vocal Vikes. Got a podcast, great podcast. Those of you who wants to listen to more Vikings content, check out my guy, Vocal Vikes podcast. He does a really good job with it. This has been Unconventional Playbook. Pat and I will be back later on this week to cover the joint practice with the Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns. That's coming up, so we'll get an insight with that. Also, the preseason game number 2 coming up on Saturday with the Minnesota Vikings and my hometown team, the Cleveland Browns. So we'll get a chance to rehash that. Pat and I are going to continue to bring you that Vikings comment. On behalf of the guru of sports in Minnesota, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, and myself, Lionel Jones, UP Nation, we bid you farewell, and we will see you when we see you. Latre, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a lamb? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?